Maharaj, it's live.
Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Sritva Pranamami Muhormuhu Namasri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchitkasvarupaya Swamini Tapaharini. Actually, when we are having noon prasad, somebody, they said we are going to have a satsang in the evening, and they had heard about our work in Delhi on value education. They said, why don't you? Then,
But if somebody has remote, I want to check if it is. I can check. Okay. You can check it. Can everyone hear?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
you can hear, no problem.
Yeah.
So then I said, okay, in the evening, satsang, we can discuss that. Swami Vivekananda gave two important definitions. One, he said, each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest his divinity and be free. Be free. This is the whole of religion. Of course, there are some other statements in between how to do it. And then somewhere else he said, education is a manifestation of perfection already in a human being. Both are very similar. Both are based on his idea of the doctrine of Advaita, which talks about the infinite, birthless, deathless, eternal nature of the human soul. So the former definition largely used in religious congregations when he wanted to awaken people to their real nature, divinity, etc. The other definition probably came because of his Padayatra or tour on foot, which he undertook throughout the length and breadth of India. He was appalled by the condition of the masses, their poverty, illiteracy, superstition, and so on. He said the country which was one of the richest at one point of time, I don't know, somewhere it said that 60% of world's GDP was India's. It has become so poor. So this gave rise to his idea, his statement that education is the punisher for all evils. Education should be given to the masses. It has been the privilege of a select few. It has to be really spread. Probably in that context only he developed this new definition of education, which is really a path-breaking one, quite different from the conventional idea of education. Again, of course, as I said, it derives its basis from that original idea of the infinite nature of the human soul. Because how do you again define perfection? He said education is a manifestation of perfection already in an individual. So how do you define perfection? Perfection is something like infinite, boundless. So again, it is clearly based on his idea of the boundless and eternal nature. So in which are included the idea that within us is all perfection, all power, all knowledge, all glory, everything is within us. And it's a definition which is totally free of any religious overtone. There is nothing connected, so anybody can adapt it, anybody can take it. So he spoke about education in several places. They've all been compiled together and brought as a book, brought out on the title Education. There he says education should instill in the students a tremendous sense of self-belief or Atma Shraddha. Then again, how one would get Atma Shraddha? Because within us is all perfection. To manifest that, or if it is manifested, any attempt in that direction would involve this awakening of the self belief or a tremendous sense of Atma Shraddha. And then he also said education should enable the students to stand on their own feet. And he also said that education should help students face the challenges of life. Actually, if all these are all taken together, he has comprehensively covered the entire idea of education itself. It's a very totally new idea, new definition, universal in its nature. Perhaps it can be applied all over the globe. But in the Indian context, he again said because it was then, it's much more today. Today, we have in a class, we have something like 50 to 60 students in a class, and very brilliant students who can even challenge the teachers, and sons and daughters of first generation learners, they are grouped together. So in any education institution, the attention is largely cornered by the bright ones. So probably in a class of 50, there may be 10 bright students. They get all attention. And then maybe the next layer of about another 15 students who can cope with all that. And then the rest are all left high and dry. So this idea of Swamiji can totally transform the domain of education itself. Because when the conventional idea of education is normally, as we understand, the flow of knowledge is from the teacher to the student. The teacher teaches, the students get the knowledge. But as Swamiji says, all knowledge, all perfection, all glory, all power is within you. And education is a manifestation of that. He completely reverses the flow from outside to inside to outside. What is inside has to come out. That is what he says is education. Now, I came to Delhi some 16 years back. And even before that, long ago, I had some idea that something should be done in the field of education. I saw probably close to 10 to 12 million students study in the education industry in the schools in Delhi, schools alone, I'm leaving out colleges, universities. Although Mission has schools across the country, in this region, we don't run any school. In Delhi region, Delhi capital, NCR, Delhi, Haryana, several states together, we don't run any school. Even in the schools which are run by us, students get it kind of indirectly. It's never given in a structured form. Although for the last so many years, maybe ever since Swamiji attained Mahasamadhi, we have been shouting from platforms. So education is a perfection. Swamiji said this, Swamiji said this. No one really kind of took care as to develop into a regular doctrine, how it can be given to students, teachers, those interested in education. It's really, it would happen in a way because in many of all our good schools are all largely education institutions, and where they live with the monks, etc. Probably they get some idea, nothing in any concrete structured form. So I saw there's so much scope in Delhi, and not only that, Delhi I found is extremely polluted because of its political climate. All students, maybe from the age of 14, 15, they are more into politics, this party, that party. And these type of programs are being attempted by many institutions. But there's been very little success. There are some institutions run by religious bodies themselves. They give their own doctrine, their own idea. But This particular idea, where it is a religious, where there is no religious overtone, completely secular, anybody can take it. This kind of approach had never been made before. So then within a year of my coming, we really sat together and thought that this is one area where we can really do something worthwhile. Of course, there was a lot of opposition. They said, no, you can't do it. It was very difficult to even enter the schools because those times the secular religion, that debate was going on. Oh, Ramakrishna Mission, no, 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 no. And if you telephone any school, no, no, principal busy hai, aap mail लिख कीजिए. Mail, no one answers. Then, somehow with a very professional group headed by a gentleman who is deeply into Ramakrishna Vivekananda ideology and was a very dear disciple of Ravi Ranganathanji. Maharaj had showered his love on him. He said, no, you will become great one day. Almost to that extent, he had told him. Very brilliant. He's an electronics engineer and he also graduated one of the topmost business schools of India, Indian University of Ahmedabad. And then his name is Srinivas. On Srinivas, what he did was he and his friend, they set up a kind of enterprise up coming out from Ahmedabad. It became so famous when the union budget was announced. That night, whole night his office would be agog with activity because what they are going to say next day would come in the papers. Which way the industries are going, which industry would thrive, which would, that kind of. But at some point of time, we felt, no, no, this is not enough because we are only doling out this kind of report. They were making money, but he said, no, we should do something in a domain of knowledge. So he set up an institution called Illumine Knowledge Resources Private Limited to work essentially on how to share knowledge in an industry at all levels. Because I am very close to him for so many years. So with his help, we developed a program called Success Formula. We thought how to enter schools. Then we stuck up an idea. If you say success, students are interested, schools are interested. So with that, we penetrated the schools, entered the schools rather. So it's a 1 hour multimedia program, a very powerful program, which is, again, all these ideas are built on Ranganathanji and Swamiji only. So 3 types of strengths, which Ranganathanji also used to speak about: Bahubalam, Buddhibalam, Atmabalam. Physical strength, mental or intellectual strength, and then spiritual strength. So this program is, it's built around these three types of strengths, essentially to make students understand what is really success. Is it getting first mark somewhere, some prize somewhere, or is it becoming truly success worthy that you always succeed in life? So it's again built on a number of real life explorations where students discuss thoroughly in the class which strength is important. Is it physical strength or mental strength or spiritual strength? So this program was a huge success. We did 700 odd programs in several schools. So we are slowly getting a foothold. So this success, we developed success formula 2. And then by the time Swami Vivekananda's 150th birth anniversary approached, we developed another program called The Awakening. It's a 5-module program, again an extension of this. And our own resource persons did it in 50 schools. And we conducted a survey or assessment. The results were remarkable. 72% of the students declared that they felt they had far more abilities than what they had imagined before. So this led us to believe that as part of Swami Vivekananda's 150th birth anniversary, we must develop a full-fledged program. That led us to the development of a flagship program called the Awakened Citizen Program. The Awakened Citizen Program. Again, we gave the ideas, essentially what is to be there, what are the main. I clearly said it should be completely based on Swami Vivekananda's idea of the inherent perfection, manifestation of which is education, because they were toying with some other idea. I said, no, should it be based on this? This is a foundation. You build around this. So he developed a 16 module program, 16 modules, 3-year program. It's a graded program for the middle school, either for the classes 6, 7, 8 or 7, 8, 9. It's 16 modules for each year, about 40 or 45 minutes each module. So this is what we wanted to launch. The Union Minister of Human Resource Development, Smriti Irani, she launched it nationwide. Actually, um, our headquarters was also kind of simply, they were shocked when they heard that we are going to do something so big. Initially, they had agreed without really fully comprehending.
Could you give us
Yeah, I'm coming to that.
the content of the module?
Yeah, that we're coming. I'm coming to that. Definitely. So then, first they said, all right. When I told them the scale, they were shocked because never before the Ramakrishna Mission or any institution in India or anywhere in the world, from one place, a program has been done covering the entire country. So the scale, I said, no, we have already gone much ahead. There's no retracing the steps. We have to do it. Now, what is essentially this program? What are the fundamental ideas which kind of dominate in this program? It's again the idea of Swamiji's perfection, the idea of Atma Shraddha, self belief. Now, when we go to schools, also, because this is largely a program where we train teachers in 3 successive years for 2 days each. They have to go and conduct the program in schools because otherwise, no, we can't really scale up the program. Because as many as 6,000 schools have enrolled into the program. More than 60,000 teachers have been trained so far. It has touched something like 1.2 million students already. Of course. So this scale, now after post training, we have resource persons posted all across the country. They visit schools, send us reports, send us video clippings as to how the program is happening, how students are responding, how teachers are responding. In fact, in the second year, that teachers, they say, we don't know about the students, Swamiji, our lives are transformed. We can clearly see that. Because the same idea works for them also. And unless they get it, they cannot pass it on down the line to the students. So in this program, why we say and what we say is, again, I tell them, I also go for a number of programs, at least the initial introductory sessions I do in a number of programs. I tell them, if you give your children this one idea, your job as a teacher is over. Because now everything is available. Students can study books themselves. In fact, in one of our, some of our schools are very well known. They produce extraordinary results. 1 year, suddenly, a less known school produced first rank in the state. Entire state, some 2 lakh students. One boy stood first. So everybody was surprised how this could happen. So a lot of, it was just then this TV, etc. was coming. So then, someone, reporters went and asked, who are the teachers who taught you, how you have done? He said, the secret is I never went to school. My name was there, all private tutors. So I say that they don't need you so much for academics. But this cannot be, got online or through some other books or something. This will happen only in contact with teachers. So why this is so important? Because what happens today, and then we did a lot of study. I said, close to 70% of the students are not connected either to the school or the teacher or the syllabus or anything. They're coming because they are forcefully sent by parents to school, or they get midday meals or some facility. So that's how they're coming. Why? Because if all attention goes to the top 10 students and they have nothing, they can't cope up with that level. So there is no individual attention that way given the teacher-student ratio is not possible. But in this program, what it says is, once they get a glimpse of this idea, within you is all power, knowledge, etc. Then repeatedly we tell them that doesn't matter if you're a zero in computers. You're zero in mathematics. You have 100 other things to explore, come up with, develop, and do exceedingly well in life. So I said this one idea I give them: Atma Shraddha, self belief, self respect. If they get it, they get everything. Then rest. In fact, no, Swamiji, not exactly he said. He says somewhere, if I had to do my education again, I would learn concentration and gather facts at will. So, something like that, if they get this Atma Shraddha, then we found that even academically, the backward students are improving because there was a mental block. We cannot do it, we cannot do it. Once they understand, no, it's not beyond us, they started improving academically also. They were concentrating in the class, they were participating better. Now, how to give this idea? How to give this idea of Atma Shraddha? How to explain what is perfection? See, if they are really not doing well in the class academically, if you go and say within you is all perfect, "Arey, kya, there are you making fun of us, or what is all this?" Even teachers also struggle in their training programs initially to get this idea. Because I tell the teachers, see, what is in it for you ultimately? Year after year, you dole out the same syllabus. Once in 4 5 years, you have to do some minor revision. Again, go on for next 5 years. Not every one of you is going to become a principal or something else. What is in it for you in this profession? But if you get this idea, you can do 100 other things. Any task, anything coming up in the school, you will be the first person to respond because you feel that you are not just mere a subject teacher. You are far more than that. So, to give the students this idea, the whole program is developed into what are called possibilities. If you are perfect, if you are extraordinary, if you have all knowledge, power, etc., within you are these possibilities. If you manifest them, that gives an indication that you have so many other abilities, talents, capacities, etc. So it is divided into 18 possibilities, 6 universal possibilities. This is the essential part of it. The possibility of being heroic, expanding oneself, living in harmony, seeking perfection, Shraddha, and seeking truth. These are the 6 universal possibilities over which this program is built. And similarly, we say there are 6 knowledge possibilities like collective intelligence, exploring new things, etc., etc. And there are 6 physical possibilities like games and sports, art and music, etc. So the other, they're all just to give a flavor, to give them an idea what it is all about. But the concentration, first year we deal with all that. In the first year, we give them an exposure what this is all about because it's all very new. In the second year, the universal possibilities are intensified. And the third year, they are given the pathways, how to manifest these possibilities. So the whole program is built around some 450 or 500 real life explorations. There are a large number of role models. So, in the teachers training program, we tell the teachers constantly, see, you must forget the idea you're the teacher. You must become a facilitator. Because in 2 days, how we can really teach them or make them understand, many of them are far more highly qualified than our own resource persons who go to conduct the program. We tell them you have to kind of forget the idea you're a teacher, where you're constantly dominating in the class. Most of the time is consumed by you. Here, we always tell them that, see, you are like a referee in a football match. The referee runs the maximum distance in the match. If you see in real international football matches, much more than the forwards or backwards of either team, the referee runs the maximum distance. But if he ever kicks the football, whole game is gone. He has to keep a distance, make sure the rules are obeyed, but not directly participate. So we'll tell them your role is like that. You watch how the students are discussing the idea, whether they are able to get it. You watch from a distance, guide them so that they don't suddenly discuss Modi or something else. So that you must ensure, but you should not directly participate. So much so, because every student is given an opportunity to participate, because in a class, in an academic discussion, 70% have no role or no chance. But here, you are from the last bench also, you can raise your hand because you are equally important as anyone else. So much so, physically challenged, speech impaired, vision impaired students have shown tremendous improvement after undergoing even some of the modules. Because suddenly they found that they are just simply, it's not that they are nobody. They have a stake, they have a say, they can participate, they can be part of this. So they understand very differently. So, for example, we a lot of time is directly devoted to the idea of Atma Shraddha. I just share with you how one module is done. There are three students, all in the same class: Asha, Lata, and Nafisa. Now, the teacher one day comes and asks, you see, we have to set up the stage for a drama which we are going to have. So, who can do it? Who is going to offer? So, Lata says, oh no, it looks boring. I won't. Then Asha says, oh, it's very difficult. I don't think you can make it. Nafisa says, I shall try. So the whole discussion in the class centers around this idea: who has that self-belief that I can do it? Now in the class, there are Latas, Ashas, and Nafisas. So as the discussion deepens, the Latas and Ashas start slowly moving towards Nafisa. Now, you see, then the teacher initiates the discussion. Why is Lata saying that? Without even trying, how can anybody say boring? That's because she's afraid of failure. Someone says some other reason. And similarly, Asha, like that. How Nafisa says it's new for her also. None of them have done it before. All of them are of the same age. All of them are the same class. The offer was given to all of them. Because Nafisa somehow felt that I have the ability in me to try this. See, Nafisa can also fail. She can get scolded by the teacher. Why did you offer then spoil the program? In spite of all that, that means she somehow got the idea in me is this ability. So then, as a consequence, we say after a month, the teacher is organizing a nature exhibition. This time, she directly goes to Nafisa. Although it is meant for senior students, still she asks Nafisa, Nafisa, will you try? Immediately she says yes. Oh, Lata says, oh, she must be the favorite of the teacher. That's why she's saying. And Asha says, so what is the idea? So this is exactly a typical scene from a classroom scenario. So they're all teachers, students, they all understand because this is how it happens. Now the discussion centers around how is it that teacher went to Nafisa and not to others? Because Nafisa had responded earlier, the teacher saw that she has the willingness to try, because this again may be a new subject. Nafisa may not do exceedingly well in this, yet the teacher is giving her the opportunity because she feels at least this girl has the ability to think big, to attempt something. Then we say, this is what happens when you grow old. Then we put up another scenario. In a company, a new program is being developed. One employee is comfortable, he says, no, I'm not going to try. Another employee says, no, it may be too difficult for me. Then the third employee, who must have been Nafisa in his younger days, that employee says, no, I will try. And he goes up faster and he gets promotion, he goes ahead and all. So, when it's presented like this, so in a real life scenario, students seem to grasp it, they seem to enjoy it. In several schools, we have hundreds of video clippings in our website. Many schools, they said this is the most popular period in the class because it's full of noise, all students raising, we can't keep them down, everybody responding. Now you see, what is the difference? This is how the Atma Shraddha or self belief is awakened through such deep discussions in the class. There are several explorations. I gave you one example. Now, what happens, in the class when it happens like that? If the teacher suddenly says that, supposing these students have been asked, see, the names are not important. It was a drama or a theater, that is not important. The type of discussion, the type of responses of students, that's really important. Now the teacher, if she simply come and said in the class, no, I'm going to do like this. Oh, why you will not respond? And they would have never got it. But because this was given in a form and it through peer learning, they are getting it. When their own classmates say that it's better to be like Nafisa rather than Lata or Asha, the transformation starts happening. So we always call it, it's a fourth stage, which is discussion, and then there is reflection, then there's transfer. That way we say that there's a DART four-stage formula like that. We say discussion, acceptance. You discuss something, that's not enough. You must accept, isn't it? So much discussions happen, but unless you accept it, it doesn't go beyond that. Discussion, acceptance, then reflection. You reflect, and then finally transform. So DART is the formula we say. So because it is happening in a classroom scenario, slowly there is a clear perceptible change in the class, and I'm coming. So many students are so. Moreover, even when we did this program, first of all, we ourselves never imagined that it will go to that kind of a scale. But I tell many sponsors, because annually you have to spend close to 3 million rupees for this program. Raising money from public is given totally free to schools. So I tell them, you see, supposing we touch 1 crore children, 10 million students in the next 10 years. So even if one person is impacted, it will be a huge national impact. If you have 100,000 students who are completely imbued with this idea, fully immersed in Swamiji's idea they are the people who, because they will understand life differently, they'll work differently, they will not only do well and excel for themselves, ultimately all that will end up as citizenship values.
Maharaj, will you be starting your own schools, or you go into schools that are already there?
No, existing schools. We can't start. That's another huge thing.
Yeah.
Existing schools all over the country, there are systems by which we enroll, we do. So one more, of those possibilities, and also how they contribute to the nation. See, under the idea is expanding oneself. What is this expanding oneself? Now we say there is a student. The student comes back from school, the boy. He finds that his grandmother is having fever. Within 2-3 minutes, he gets a call from one of his very close friends saying that's a very important party, you must attend it. Now, whether you go for the party or be with the grandmother. So again, normally in all such programs where ethics, morals are taught, no, you must always serve the sick, nobody will accept. But we leave it to the class. Some students say, no, party is more important. Some say grandmother is important. Some say you must keep everything by her side and go and come back in quick time. Some will say, what happens if you get delayed? How will you come? Something serious might happen. So when the whole class discusses it thoroughly, and if they come to the conclusion that it's always better to be by the side of a sick person, then this becomes an embedded learning, gets straight into the heart. That's why we don't give any workbooks, there is no exercise, there is no exam. Either they get it or they don't get it. So what happens, why the teacher should not say, maybe this see, each child relates to its own grandmother, isn't it? The grandmother may be such a nagging person, day and night only scolding this student. Naturally, he or she wouldn't like to be with such a grandmother. Or it is the nature of the grandmother to daily complain of fever always. So all those scenarios are possible, is it not? So we leave it to the students. According to their own scenario, they discuss and understand. Then finally, if there is a major decision in the peer learning, the majority of the students say that this is what is better. So that is how the transformation starts happening. Yes, someone wanted to ask some question.
Have you observed, has there ever been any unintended consequences in the sense where the self-belief gives rise to the sense of the doer, the I, the ego, and then that has a ripple effect thereon?
We specifically did not observe like that. But even in a few cases, if it happens also, I think that is better than not doing anything. So even if it is bordering on ego also, ultimately if the person performs, it can definitely, it will do something. So Swamiji says, the cow does not tell a lie. Is it superior to a human being? Yes.
Rajas is better than
Yeah.
tamas.
So that's why let them awaken. As they, that's what, depending upon the level to which they understand, it can produce extraordinary human beings. Maybe some who are egoistic but still doing well. At one level where they do for themselves, where others, it can produce extraordinary national leaders who would have the welfare of the whole nation at heart. Now, see this expansion idea, if they understand, that is where they know how to accommodate other. See, it's all happening in India and other places where people live in huge, some 100 flats together, condominiums. The expansion, so important. So all that would result in citizenship value ultimately. Now we always, another small example where we discuss exploration. There are three types of doctors. All are doctors, all are qualified. One doctor is busy only prescribing prescriptions so that he gets some commission from the pharmaceuticals company, unnecessarily keeps on prescribing texts and this and that. That person is also a doctor. Another person, exactly what is required, that much he would do, he would take fees also. The third doctor, he says he does it. Apart from that, he thinks about setting up a healthcare system for the entire country. So in the class, it is discussed who is most expanded amongst these doctors. So when children understand at a very impressionable age, they get the idea this is how we should develop. So we do not think that 100 or 100 all children would get it. My idea is just let 1% of the student get it fully. That's enough for the nation. So that way it has been, it is a very, very difficult task because this is done outside the school syllabus. So there is no compulsion. And teachers is an extra load for them. So we are working against all odds. So that's why not all schools are doing exceedingly well, but a substantial number of schools. So whichever is done, even 5, 6 modules, they can't stop it. Children would not allow them. They would ask for the next session. Otherwise, it tapers off into something not so powerful because
So this is beyond the ordinary school hours.
no. See, we tell them to accommodate. There are a lot of some extra periods. I say, in your subject, just one period you take out. 16 in a year, what is that? You can easily cover your subject even with the rest of the time. In many places, we request them to include it as part of the academic calendar. So a lot of this thing going on. We got a huge 172-page survey conducted. Amazing was the result found out by them. Now again someone else is doing one more survey, and the idea is this has been very popular, and this has led to a demand from others primary section. No, you're doing only for middle schools. What about us? Now in-house, last time it was done with the professional people. In-house, we have developed a program as a feeder to this for classes 1 to 5. It's called just Awakening, Jagaran. This is called the Awakened Citizen Program. It's called Awakening. That's completely based on stories for classes 1 to 5. The training module, we have made it more teacher friendly because there's a lot of uh, attrition in schools happening because somewhere a little better salary they go away, and people, so there are difficulties in asking them to come for 3 successive years. So we have made it more teacher friendly. We have made a lot of changes in this. This is picking up even faster. We've already done about 250, 300 schools. Now all that requires huge attention, time. 85 people are working in this project. Out of the about, and they are spread all over the country. The major force is in Delhi. About 40 of them are working totally free. Doctorates, those have been 1 or 2 civil servants, many others. They don't take anything. Well, the rest we pay very moderate salaries. I mean, we can't even compare. Like still, because even then we have to spend so much money. Because a lot of travel is involved. Traveling expenses have to be reimbursed. Training we have to go and conduct at different locations. Then training expenses like food, etc., for the teachers that we provided. So it's very this thing. That is why, because it has become too big for Delhi, he wanted to set up a separate institution where this will be given major focus or attention. So, with the great struggle, we have developed an institution called Vivekananda Institute of Values in Haryana, the first center, the Ramakrishna Mission Haryana. There will be ashrama activities in a toned down scale compared to that. Delhi has huge puja activities because after my going, a whole night Kali Puja, a whole night Shivratri and all that. Here it will be definitely less than that, but there will be puja, little ashram activities, regular classes. Apart from that, it will all be this primary, secondary program for teachers, parents, senior citizens, corporate professionals, all that we are. And there's further also I'll share. Yes.
At least after seeing the success of this program, is there any help from the education department?
Yeah, education departments are all cooperating because the Central Board of Secondary Education, the biggest educational body in the country, completely under central government, they are only an affiliating body. They don't pay the teachers or anything like that. But the schools affiliated to them get a certification for their school final exams and then the intermediate exams and all that. They have written and given a written approval to this program, and all the institutions, there are institutions called Kendriya Vidyalayas. These institutions are all funded by central government. All the Kendriya Vidyalayas have enrolled into this program. Similarly, they have one is called Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya. This is for residential students from remote areas or rural areas. They are all schools they have adopted. Some government schools and rest are all private schools. This is the composition. So there is definitely, these are all government bodies. Kendriya Vidyalaya, Navodaya Vidyalayas, army schools, navy schools, air force schools. They've all taken this program. So, but it has not been in terms of funding, etc. One thing, deliberately we did not go to government for funding because it's very difficult to uh, get the money from them. And more than that, they don't have funding for these type of programs. They don't have really. Huh?
So everything is the donation?
Donation, corporate support, and things like that.
Government corporate support.
Yeah, 10 years we have managed.
Taking government grants is also inviting their interference.
Yeah. And they don't have provision for these type of programs. That is the problem. Even their own Kendriya Vidyalaya, CBSE schools, they only give affiliation. They're all private schools, but affiliated to government body. Like only the Kendriya Vidyalayas and Navodaya Vidyalayas, they fund directly. Apart from that, for these type of programs, there is no budgetary provision. They don't have any extra money. So they can't really do it as it is today. Supposing they take a major governmental decision, if the Prime Minister wishes, probably they can include it in the national budget and do. But that's all a far cry. I don't think it will happen. But that's why one thing is we are slowly thinking from next year onwards, because the funders are saying, how long are we to support it? Normally, it's very difficult to take even CSR support because after 3 years there should be a break. They cannot support continuously. A lot of regulations are there. And normally they always say that when it will become self-sustained. It will never become totally self-sustaining because these government schools we cannot charge. Now, what we are thinking partially for some of the private schools, particularly the primary program, etc., can we start charging from next year? See, this year is a major year after the pandemic. During pandemic, largely we are doing online. Again, now we're completely shifted to the offline mode. So this time it's very difficult to. This year we said we will run it fully, and at the end of the year we will take stock, and probably for next year onwards we may have to start charging it. One more opportunity is because now this institute is largely doing other programs also. For the other programs, we can start charging. And apart from that, we are putting up a separate facility in Rishikesh. We have got a huge tract of land purchased, about 4.5 acres. In that, we are creating a facility for 50 people, residential, with definitely very decent facilities. There, of course, there will be retreats for devotees. It's called Sharada Tapovan. There will be retreats. Atma Gyananji can come and do a retreat on Bhagavad Gita, Kathoparishad, anything like that. We'll say the person conducting it, language, subject, that's separate. Apart from that, we are putting it a very nice facility for corporate programs there, where we hope we will be able to charge. But creating that is because this Gurugram also, we started just after the first wave of pandemic. We did not know there will be. Then it became second, third. It was so difficult. But somehow, by Mother's grace, we collected money, we did it. Again, this would require about the land somebody donated money for purchasing land. Some 12, 13 crores we will have to raise to do that. So what we somehow we have also learned a little marketing. We are saying kutiyas. There will be 27 blocks of 4 kutiyas each. Each kutiya we are saying, supposing you give 25 lakhs or $32,000, you can dedicate it in the name of your parents or dear and near one. Like that, we are trying to. Some responses are coming that way in India and abroad also. So I am very sure because it will come. Because that idea, I find people like it because they are dear and near one. If can say that in memory of so and so, that idea is catching. Probably our idea is to the work is started by next Ram Navami, April 17th. We want to inaugurate, so that once we start that and charging a little, we will tell the funders you can slowly taper off, you can suddenly stop it, then you can reduce like that. And probably we'll have also to see at one point of time, are we to keep on expanding, or we'll do stop at say some 3,000 schools who are actively doing it, and we'll say let others take it up differently. Now it's all this next couple of years is a very difficult and challenging times because we're really finalizing on the details. What should be the scope? What should be the future of this program? How we should take it forward? Because the primary school program is also extremely popular, but there we have to train a large number of teachers because there the training is only one day. There here it is 2 days, 3 years. There we have made it only one day, 4.5 hours. Class, all the for the year one, year two, year three, year four, year five, all can get trained together. It is not exactly graded. Although there is a grading in the program, still a student can join in fifth year and still benefit. May not benefit to the extent like a student who's doing from class one, but yet it will definitely give them an idea and qualify them to enter into the major program in the secondary school. That way, we also found that primary school teachers are far more aligned to such ideas. And because they deal with largely small children, and because it is entirely based on stories, the bigger program requires computers, smart boards, or projectors, etc. But the primary program can be done even under a tree. You don't require any uh, electronic facility for that. So that's catching up fast. So uh, we really not know how far we should go or where we can take it forward. So this year and the next, maybe probably within that, we'll really come to a very definite idea about the scope, the future, the coverage, how far, how many, all that we'll be able to decide.
Maharaj, if people want to donate,
Yeah,
how do they do that?
yeah. You see, now again in India, this foreign contribution has become a very big this thing. You need government permission. You have to register. Gurgaon Center has no such registration. Previously, one registered center can give to another registered center. Now that's also stopped.
Oh,
You cannot transfer from Belirmat is stuck. See, they took money
yeah.
because they were having a corpus fund. The interest were distributing to a number of centers.
Yeah.
Now they are not able to do.
Oh.
They are stuck. So what I thought was, if whoever wants to donate can write, we are taking a permission from the government, and with that we can accept. So we can give the details. Whoever wants can contact me. I will give the details. Then if they say what they wish to donate, then we can. We are applying for a permission because in other centers there are people who really said that we will contribute. So I have told them, I have given them the brochure, electronically in WhatsApp. I already have it. So I said, you go through that. You tell me your name, address, what you want to contribute, etc. Then together, when I go back, I'm thinking of applying to the government. So there are two things. One is you can take a one-time permission for any project or this thing saying that these are the people, these are the details. Then they give it. Other is you are permanently registered, you can uninhibited keep receiving money from foreign sources because you are approved by the government so as to be eligible to receive. But I am thinking at least the one-time thing I'll be able to get it quickly. Using that, we will try. Anything else about the program you want to know? It's very clear. Do you think that this idea will work? My idea is, even in other countries also it will work. Only thing is, the scenarios are completely built around Indian surroundings, Indian scenario, Indian incidents that way. Probably we'll have to tweak that a little so as to give a different flavor. But essentially, Swamiji's idea of education is equally applicable anywhere in the world because that is a very central idea to education itself. Even here also, if students understand education differently, probably you'll have a different scenario. Yes, please.
Are any surveys conducted to see how it's impacted the parents and families of the children who are going through the program?
Yeah, you see, the our website has a lot of impact videos. That's all largely taken from school scenario, but we found at least we have not directly measured, not able to measure the impact of parents because such a survey will be very very difficult. You want to see when you do a program of this scale, even to contact teachers and students itself is difficult. Because even if you do a sample survey, if the number of students is 1.2 million, what would be an acceptable sample? Tell me. So it is difficult, but still we are doing that. But there are instances. For example, in one of the parent-teachers meeting, one mother she literally wept. She said that I live on the second floor. There is no lift in our house. So from the market, I used to come with 2 bags full of vegetables. My daughter, she'll be standing in the veranda and laughing. Suddenly one day I saw her running down, taking one bag from me. She said, no, no, no. In a vacancy, it's called ACP. In ACP, we have been told to expand, how we should uh, grow and expand and take others also. So you give me one bag. So like that, there are in one student, one class, one such meeting, when I was supposed to, one student got up and said that I just lifted 50 rupees from my father's bucket. I went and gave it back to him. So he said, no, were not afraid he might not beat you? I knew, I was prepared, but I have been told to seek truth, so I returned it. That kind of an impact. So, I've always, kept it, expectations we have kept low. I said, I know in a program like this, with all these difficulties, a huge impact may not be possible. But whoever has got it, even a very small percentage, they can significantly contribute. Yes, you wanted to ask something. Sorry, please.
Ravi,
Yes.
are you planning to spread these programs in other parts of India?
No, it's a,
Northeastern parts of India?
yes, sir. It's all over the country. Northeast, we have number of schools are doing this. We have our own resource persons posted in Northeast, North, South, East, West. Everywhere our resource persons are there. But then, we can't take too many schools because you need a lot of resource persons, and it's very difficult to get quality resource persons because we are offering very low salaries. So it's that we are in a very catch 22 situation because if you increase the salary, it goes far beyond our budget. If you don't give more reasonable salaries, good persons, they easily leave, after. See, we train them 1 full year, we spend. Suddenly, they, oh, I have enjoyed so much, I have benefited so much, but unfortunately, I have to leave. So that kind of situation is arising. So all these we are debating. Are we to reduce really good salaries? We shall give, reduce the number, try to make them cover more schools, thereby it's really rewarding. So essentially, we need people who understand and accept this idea. Essentially, in our resource meetings also, largely I discuss only this. Please remember, unless you are inspired, I said there's always a transmission loss. From Swamiji to the developers, there was. From developers to our main trainers, there was a transition drop. And then from you to teachers, then how much students will get finally? So I say that unless you are inspired, unless you really believe it yourself, you can't make any impact because many teachers are far more qualified than you. There are doctorates working in schools. So what's your qualification? How can you handle them? But if you're inspired, definitely you'll be able to match them and they will listen to you. So in our meetings, largely again and again we only discuss this. Why Swamiji said, how this can, how can you benefit from this? What would give it to you? How would you take it? So it's a challenge. And because again and again when they don't get appointments in schools, they feel depressed. Oh, we tried so many times, they're not giving appointment. I said, no, you can't give up. It will happen. To be patient. Nothing happens overnight. Because if you put your best foot forward, it will happen. Even if some. So again they come, oh Maharaj, what an experience it was. Today we went to the class. Whole class was like this. Teacher was like this. Principal was like this. Parents, that also they come back and say, share constantly in our internal this thing. So it's somehow we have been, it has really caught us and we are fully into it. And so people, they are surprised. They say, you are, what is your... So I say I'm probably double the age of all of you, but you see my interest and enthusiasm because I honestly believe it's going to happen. We are very, very convinced, absolutely convinced about this. So we are trying. And also, you see, that way, this is totally new because in none of our institutions, nowhere we have handled this issue in a thematic way with a graded program, clearly giving the outlines, clearly giving the outcomes. So we have been using quoting Swamiji, no doubt. So we have also got it only very vaguely that way. But this is a very deliberate, clear attempt to give it in a very structured form where children and teachers can understand it.
So the US could benefit from such a program.
Yes, probably we may have to slowly, if you do some international programs, we may get better funding probably. We have to see. So there were some, we did something in UAE in some schools probably. There was something from Nepal and Sri Lanka, in Malaysia, some a few people wanted, but we couldn't really reach out. Because you see, even our own institutions, some of the schools say, you send us the program. We said, no, we will not send. Your teachers have to be trained by our resource persons. Otherwise, they will not get it. Because, see, content is very easy. 6, 7, 8 children, content, what is that? This is exploration. Anybody can understand it just by... The real thing is, when they do it in a class, in a way, children can thoroughly discuss. That is a USP. They participate fully. Then they get it. Otherwise, it can be just in 2 classes, you can run all the 16 modules. No, it's not like seeing... See, there are a lot of suggestions. Some people said, oh, why don't you have video clippings, this and that? No, we don't want. You don't make it a movie or anything like that. The whole thing would happen only through deliberate, deep discussion where the change would happen in the heart. Then they get it. Otherwise, they will not get it. So we have been very clear about this thing. Yes.
You mentioned concentration was one big part of the modules.
Yeah, concentration also. See, we tell them in one of the explorations, of course, we share that Swamiji's life's incident where, in America, in one of the standing over one of the bridges, the 2 youngsters were trying to shoot eggshells and they couldn't. So he took the gun and shot all the 24 one by one. So they, oh, you didn't tell us that you're a professional shooter. You must have practiced shooting quite a lot. I said, no, I have never touched a gun in my life before. But what I do is concentration. That, of course, concentration is not part of any of our modules as such. But then we show some of these toward the end, through that they get it. Okay, actually, universal possibilities are really universal. Instead of this 6, you can have another 6. You can do anything. See, the whole idea is to somehow make them veer around this idea that it's possible for me. That's the essential thing. We have just for sake of expanding it further, making them understand. So we have brought these possibilities. But the essential idea is Atma Shraddha or self-belief. Believing that I am no less than anybody, come what may. See, Steve Jobs was a college dropout. He revolutionized computer industry. So obviously, no, it is not the mere academic ability is not. If you say many of the big industries all over the world also, they were nothing academically, but they had something else. So children should somehow get the idea and not give up hope. Probably that can play a big role in their lives. So we tell them these are all, you can have some other exploration, some other possibilities also. Essentially is that idea, that self-belief, Atma Shraddha, I can do it. So they get that kind of awakening. Anyone else? Anything else? Any more questions?
In the school systems here, it's a very different picture that I see every day. Um, Instead of concentration, the phone screens they rule over everything else. The idea is that okay, you are paid, so you are the teacher, so you have to teach the class no matter what. So you're basically doing your job. But I don't have to. I don't get paid. I come here because I'm sent by my family. I am
Yeah, that's
constantly on
what,
my
see, that
phone
is what,
screen, and we fight this every day.
Yeah,
in the
that is
house.
because, you have not been able to give them the true education. See, by in your definition of education, they should get good academically, good marks. That will not work. So when we say that, no, you don't have to do well in studies, then they participate. So when that tag that unless you are academically strong, you are nobody, if that is removed, then the whole class becomes one. You create a level playing field for the entire class. All students, if they feel that I'm no less than anybody, we give them many examples. See, if in such a situation, who responds really? Because in America it doesn't happen. In India, sometimes, the teacher finds that something is dirty, something. See, supposing you call, who comes? The backbenchers, not the toppers. Why? Because they find that, finally we are recognized. In the school also, why there is violence or breaking of the, because they want attention. Students feel that we are not cared for. No one looks at us. So how to get attention? Do something strange, weird, break, do something. So all this they understand. If, whosoever has tried it, they're all full of prize for it. The thing is, supposing sometimes they send teachers who are about to retire in a year or two. They are gone. Everything is exhausted. They are like a squeezed sugar cane. What is there left in them? Such people can't. See,
Like teenage suicide is a big deal. We see in the school system here.
Teenage suicide.
yeah, because again, because they don't have the self-belief, that we can do something. To address all this, only we tell them. See, we don't have to give them anything else. Give them this idea. See, once they understand that this is not the end of the road for me, I can go further, I can try, I can explore. That idea, that belief itself gives them a new lease of life, so to say. See, one government school teacher openly said, Swamiji, before this program, you cannot imagine how many bulbs used to be broken in our school. But after this, not a single bulb is broken when we introduce this program. Because they found that, children want an identity. It's an identity crisis. Some of the things we give them with, first of all, we say, you identify. What is your identity? That's very important. And then, are you able to make responsible choices in life? This program teaches them to make responsible choices in life. See, people are ready to make choices. They don't own up. See, everywhere, why governments are failing? Why people are like that? They want to do exercise, but they don't own it up. So we say, how do you make responsible choices in life? So that way it's working well. It's working well so far.
Maharaj, Rimsey.
Huh?
Rimsey,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And was that based on a similar type of
No.
idea?
REMC, they have their own old models. Some Vidyashala is doing this program. They are doing well. It's doing well.
Until this becomes a thing in US and all, can we get access to these modules?
Yeah. You can, if you see our website, values.org, rkmm.org. Definitely, you will get a full idea about the program, some of the modules, etc.
So this initially started from the Delhi ashram.
Yes,
So the Gurugram ashram, will this be the main function?
one of the main activities will be these activities. These school activities will be there. One of the main. That's the reason why we had to shift, because there I was not able to give so much time, and we all. I was sitting somewhere else. They were sitting somewhere else. The team. So now we are all together in the same building, and they have regular access to me. I'll be able to do more in the programs, further development. Now, so we have to take some crucial decisions the next couple of years. Which way we are going to develop, what we are going to do.
Are you still in contact with the Sunai organization? The Richa Prasant, Richa, the Sunai, they work with the street children education.
Is it? Oh, so once we went, no. No, afterward, they never came. Maharaj, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaj.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanastu.
Okay.